Come here, photo bomber. Before I can even get going, say hi to Shadow. What do you think? Morning, everyone, or evening, or afternoon, or whatever cycle you're in. Oh, what a day. Today I've got a lot of thoughts I want to share with you, and this could get pretty deep, but for those who have the all right, hop down. For those of you who have the spiritual gumption, you want to come back up here? Yeah. For those of you who have the spiritual gumption, I'm going to dive into something here in this conversation, or this talk. It'll be a conversation if some of you can really add to it in the comments. But we're going to get into some thoughts because we're all reevaluating everything that we know. We're all evaluating. I know some of us just want loving. Yeah. We're all reevaluating ourselves. And that's what this boils down to. Everything that we've done as a human existence is now coming to light. In other words, karma. And many of you hear me talk about karma all the time, and she's about ready to ride her horse. And the results may not be all that great for a lot of us. And a lot of what we're dealing with, and buddy, I have to let you down because I can't concentrate on you and my thoughts at the same time. She said, I want to back up. Yeah. No, go catch a mouse. Go catch a mouse. I know. Brrr. A lot of everything that we're dealing with is about our journeys and about each and every one of our journeys. Yes, I know you want attention. Okay? Go on. All right. Go on. Go catch a mouse. Go play with Smokey if you can find him. We as human beings, the physical manifestation of our spirits here in this material existence that we're in, all came here for a myriad of reasons. It's not just one. There's lots of reasons, but you can simplify things and say that it was about our desire to come here, experience contrast, things that feel good versus things that don't feel good, make a good decision, find ways to help each other and to grow and to become our highest, best selves, to try and do them. Not all of us even understand that. Most people don't even understand that why what we're here for, why we're here. The psychopathic elite would have us believe that we're just a chance, that there is nothing deeper to our existence. Because if you look there, you might find what I'm digging at now, and what many of you are digging at the same time. So this morning I find myself out here in my place of creation, my workshop. Many of you have seen me put this together, and this is my happy place. I hope dearly that each and every one of you has and can create your own happy place like this, where you can be your highest, best creator, or grow into becoming your highest, best creator. whatever, whether it's a little room in the upper part of your house where you do your arts and crafts, or you sit down and write, or wherever you can express yourself and create in the way that you create, that you actually know that that's what this is, or what you have is that place of creativity, and that you know that is a place that you set up to freely allow yourself to explore new concepts, new thoughts, new ideas, trials and tribulations of the making of whatever it is that we make. That is our happy place. And it doesn't have to be defined by, 4 walls, 3 walls, whatever. It can be all of universe, if you can open your mind that way. But some of us, and it has to do with the fact that there are things that are in existence that are not of the higher vibrations, that there are negative energies out there, and we want to be totally immersed in our positive energies. Do we put up these physical or psychological barriers between that what feels good and that which don't feel good, the things that we want to choose between? Okay, so that's the crux of what we're going to get into in my thought experiment here, and it's going to be a challenging one. So like I said, for those of you who have the gumption to hold on through this, some of the things I want to discuss. Wow, I'm not sure you can hear that in the video. So I did a talk with Danishka about a little over a year ago. We did one, and she put it up on her website at that time. Now she's doing stuff and putting it up on her Patreon. I did a chat with her, 2.5 hours of stuff that we got into, and it was on Skype, and she put it up on her Patreon. Wow. My piglets. Oh, are they beasts? They are definite beasts. So while I was doing the talk with her, the piglets would go off every now and then because they were trying to feed, and they're doing that now. And you want to talk about a ear-piercing, wrenching, horrible, oh my God, horrible sound is when those piglets fight each other over those teats. When they're down there fighting, I mean, it's bloody murder. Now, hopefully you can't hear that, but I do, and it's a negative energy. It does not feel good to hear when you, because it sounds utterly horrible and devastating, like something is being put beyond murder, in pure torture, and that's what we're talking about. So there's an experience there. It was in the recording that I did with Danishka, and if she can get me a link, I will give you a link. I told you I was going to do this. It got delayed because of the issues that she had. A couple weeks ago, she didn't have internet, but we got it done, and she's had some more issues, but we'll get it up there. Anyway, once I had that conversation with her, it left my mind continuing to roll afterwards, because that's what it does when you dive into this level of thought. It triggers avalanches of more thoughts, complete nuclear explosions of understanding and where we're going, and we're all going through that. So for those handful of you that are still around, that have been with me for a very long time, will know that I have done some deep discussions about who we are, and why we're in this really kind of horrible time that we are in as a humanity, as far as the lack of freedom, the tyrannical things that were, the really negative feelings versus positive feelings, and why we are really surrounded by a lot of negative feelings. And that has to do with freedom, a free domicile, a free back to etymology. You got to know what words mean, and I can't just sit here and define everything. But when we're talking about freedom, or a free place to exist, or to truly be able to create, without barriers around us. Now, you see where I'm going with this. We're going to get deeper. To be able to do that, we have to do it without the constriction of barriers. And I don't mean just the walls around me like I have physically, but the mental barriers and the social barriers. So I know we're into it probably a few minutes here, but let me lay down a little bit of foundation. All right, so there's 3 things that I have stated that cannot exist for human beings to truly be free. Government or control of mind. You can't have people forcing others to live within the confines of barriers, right? And that's what we're talking about, because the tyrannical nature of what we see going on in this world is pushing us to a point that will make that will make extraordinarily powerful sense when I get to the end of this. Like I said, hang on. There's a lot of foundation I need to lay, and for us to truly know how to navigate the things that are going on, we have to understand fundamentally what it is we're doing and dealing with, and the true issues here. I mean, are the true issues necessarily a CV19 thing, or is that a side issue that is a distraction to what we're needing to deal with internally and spiritually? So I went through and I did several big videos about the reasons, and I simplified it as to the reasons why government, religion, and money, all 3 of those paradigms, were all based on the same fundamental structure or construct in a matrix form of control. It's about control. And until you understand, true freedom can only come from being in an environment that has the fewest restrictions, the fewest controls, to allow thoughts and ideas and experiences. Oh, here comes Smokey. Nope. Yeah, I hear you. He just laid down on the step there. Freedom is the ability to make good choices or bad choices. Freedom is the ability to experience contrast by your own choice, not by somebody else's choice, but by your own choice. To experience, to choose, make good choices or bad choices, but to be able to make those choices on your own. To exercise your free will. To do the one thing that or exercise the gift that was given to us by God, by the greatest consciousness. Okay? Shadow, don't you dare. I know, you're coming back. You going back out. Go play with Smokey. I hear those pigs again. Oh, that sounds so horrible. Makes me question, well, do I really want to raise pigs, even though, they're good, easy food to produce for myself? Do I really want to raise them? Because, I don't enjoy this period where there's a bunch of aspects of not so positive feeling versus good feeling. Good feeling is, hey, I'm raising my own food to eat. I'm in connection with those animals. I'm in connection, but they tear the ground up pretty bad. And no, I haven't gotten rings in their noses. And there are other breeds that do that less. Anyway, we're always dealing with our experiences. And the idea is this: we all want to experience the best, right? None of us really want to experience the negative. So, where does that leave us? For some folks like me and many of you, in order to navigate, in order to transverse, to go through this journey, many of us have tried to figure out, okay, well, how do things work? Okay, and I've pretty much asked that with everything that I've experienced, and that's why a lot of you are so amazed, because I know so many things: how to weld, how to woodwork, tools, build this, build that, these things, and how I build that, how I create is because I want to know how things work. I want to understand. I want to stand under the knowledge of universe. And turkey hen, pause for 2 seconds. This is why meditation is such a powerful thing, because if you can find a way to tune out all the negative energies or the distractions and stuff, it allows you to get into that vibrational frequency of your highest creation. Your highest creation is thought. So when you're in your journey and you're trying to improve your journey, because we came here to experience contrast. We want to go, it doesn't feel good. Ooh, feels good. Let's go this way, because we want to explore our free right to make that choice, the choice for whether it's bad or good. We make it. The question is it free or is it not free? We want the ability to do that, so we want to learn how things work. And for me, that led me to the two sources of information that I point back to all the time. Kevin Trudeau's "Your wish is your command," and he did in doing that set of audios. And please set aside everything that everybody wants to say about, oh, well, he's in jail and he did this and he did that. If you can't think past that, and this is why I say listen to all, follow none, because you can take the best from somebody even though they have a bad quality about them or they have a character flaw, because we all have character flaws where none of us are perfect. Look past to find the good so that you can take that and apply it to your own growth. Well, in that's one of the things that I learned, I refined to a much higher level, and was the understanding to stand under this knowledge that I am truly my own creator of all my experiences. And I am responsible for everything that I do experience, including the bad and the good feelings, because of my choices of free will. And how that works and of course our connection to energy and the law of attraction and understanding that law. So many of you have explored some of the aspects of the law of attraction. Most of you haven't gotten but to a certain level. And from those of you that I've talked to, there's only one or two that have really dived into it and have a much higher comprehension of it. Because we don't. We're so distracted by the turkey and the pigs and the kitties, whether it's, good feeling, bad feeling. They're all around us. And they're all trying to work into us. And the events that are going on in D.C. or in Portland or in Canada or in England or in Australia, all of these where these massive amounts of negative energy are finally catching up to a lot of our bad choices. So, fundamentally, we need to know and understand that we are our own creators, that we are creating our own reality based on what we have informationally and thoughts that we put out. That frequency, that energy, thought is what creates. And what we think and what we speak is pretty much what we get. And since I read that information and heard those audios 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I have yet to see anything that disproves it. Matter of fact, every experience that I have proves it more and more and more that it is the highest law in the land. So one of the things I wanted to state about that fundamentally before we go on into what is going to be my whole point of this conversation is that because of our programming, because of our upbringing within the matrix, because of our parents, because of our churches, because of our governments, because of the system, the monetary system that we were, all this programming that we have, there is a lot of confusion about the law of attraction. And I want to make sure I set something very clear for those of you who do not understand, have not heard of, or do not have the appropriate understanding of what the law of attraction is. Because if you get into the second resource, which would be the Ask and It Is Given book, from Jerry and Esther Hicks, Esther comes in from a very spiritual aspect because she's channeling Abraham. And because of that, and because of some other aspects, and because of our programming of religions, a lot of people tend to want to tie the law of attraction to spiritual concepts and spiritual paths. And I want to kind of say no to that. If you are thinking that the law of attraction is a different version of Christianity or some kind of religion, I think you're wholly mistaken in your understanding of what law of attraction is. Now we got a turkey. I told you, distractions. See, I'm not quite sure this late in the season why our red hen is wanting to stoop, but she's wanting to stoop and Tommy is mounting. Oh, the distractions, the world that we live in. So let me clarify. Let me clarify with you. the law of attraction is merely a how-to. The law of attraction, the understanding the law of attraction is understanding how energy works. That's it. So it does not matter what religion you are in, or what control system you are in, or what set of constructs, constrictions, mind programming, rules, laws, obstacles that you have in your mind. None of that affects the law of attraction. The law of attraction works all the time for everyone in every situation. So it is not what a lot of people seem to want to think it is, that it is some kind of spiritual religion. It is not. All religions are controlled by and use the law of attraction in their processes. The law of attraction is only how things work. So if you don't like the negative feelings and you want the positive feelings, you need to understand that you have to use how universe works to make your choice. Because if you can't change what you're attracting into your world, then you can't go from the negative to the positive, or whatever. You can't change. You're going to continue to get. You will continue to get what you're attracting in because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So the real power, the real freedom or exercise of freedom, is being able to know what you are manifesting and know how to go about changing that which you manifest. Because here's what we've got. We've got ourselves in quite a pot of hot water right now in this world. We are all experiencing, and we're all surrounded by a whole lot of things that we're experiencing that are not exactly feeling good. Some of these things are really feeling bad, and we need to know how to change that. Now, those of you who have studied the law of attraction, and those of you who have dived deeper into it, may have gone as far as what is described in the Esther Hicks series about the art of allowing. The art of allowing is the choice of freedom. The art of allowing is the path of freedom. And this is what we're going to get into, because there is a crux, a catch-22 about it that I want to discuss with you, and that's where we're going. So like I said, you got to hang on. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a real good thought experiment. The art of allowing, as stated, and for those of you who've really read into the books, and the 6, 7, 8 books that Esther Hicks has put out, there's a bunch of them. I got about 4 or 5 of them. Is a key in our own spiritual growth to mastering, to truly mastering ourselves and how we go about manifesting things. So let me back up a little bit more again, lay a little bit more foundation. Those of you who understand the law of attraction will also understand that it is our consciousness, our soul or consciousness, whatever you want to call that thing, that little voice in the back of our head, that is a recording of a lot of thoughts, and occasionally it brings out new thoughts when we get tapped into greater spirit and consciousness, or God, or whatever God talks to me, or spirit channels me, or whatever. Like when Esther Hicks is channeling Abraham, that when that flow is, that connection to flow of energy, of free flowing energy, is allowed to occur. The art of allowing is the key to this. The art of allowing is the toughest aspect of the law of attraction for us to overcome. Okay? And most of us don't ever get deep enough into the law of attraction. For those that I've spoken to, there's only one or two people that I've ever had long enough, deep enough conversation that really kind of grasp this. And in learning this, side note, in learning this, when I have read through some of this biblical stuff from the higher achieving people that, Jesus, when I look at his understanding of where he was and his connections and so on and so forth, I hear a lot of the same echoes as I do within this information, this understanding, the standing under the knowledge of how universe works, standing under the knowledge of how we are meant to work with each other for our own benefit and our own growth, and how we individually use these skill sets. So I'm going to define the art of allowing as a skill set, just like grinding on some metal, or turning something out on a lathe, or writing words, being good with knowing the how to put words together to create poetry, stuff like that. It's a skill set. So for those of you who have gotten in, will understand. I'm going to simplify to some extent for the general audience here, but the art of allowing states this. Or I guess it's not. I shouldn't say it. It doesn't state this. The art of allowing is basically this. We have all these things that are always bombarding us with experiences. Things that make us feel bad, things that make us feel good. The art of allowing, I have seen, and I could also say that I've even seen that within higher levels of people who are in the Christian faith, but very seldom. Not many people go. That's when the people go, well, everything's right and it's on its right path, and they're okay with things. See, the whole point of allowing, and I still haven't quite said it, so let me see if I can find the right words to say this out of my own mouth. The art, the skill, the techniques, the ability to allow things to exist without them having influence over our frequency and vibration, having them affect us emotionally. Okay? For me, here in this video, it's two turkeys over here having sex, cat crawling up in my lap, wanting my attention for me to focus on her. The pigs over there squealing bloody murder because they can't get a teat off of mama. Like they're going to die because, oh my God, we're going to die. Those kinds of things. And allowing those things to affect my vibration, my frequency. So those who work on developing those skill sets through the developing the art of allowing, in their studies of the law of attraction and trying to become a better manifester of their own world, those individuals who get that deep into their personal growth will inevitably come to understand just how critical that one skill set is to whether or not they're actually manifesting what they want. If they're in the world that they want to see, if they're observing all the things that they want to see versus the things that they don't want to see, whether those choices that they've made of, hey, I'm choosing the better feeling here, versus, no, I keep seeing these things that don't feel good over here. The art of allowing is incredibly powerful in the results you get. Here's how and why. In the end, if you truly have come to an understanding that you are getting everything that you think about, especially when it comes to the emotion tied to the thoughts. Because if you're frustrated all the time and you think about frustrating things and you've chosen to feel frustrated because you don't have the choice to feel joy, then universe is always going to bring to you, because you're attracting that energy, bring to you more of that. However, if you've worked on the art of allowing, and you can allow someone else or something else to be in a lower frequency, or in a frustration, or experiencing things that don't feel good to them without it affecting your emotions personally, then you spend less time in that state of vibration. In Kevin Trudeau's audio series, he states this: you gotta care, but not that much. And this, we're starting to refine into where I'm really going with it, because this is going to be big, and I'm really going to be interested to see those of you who get through this, to what your thoughts might be on this in the catch-22 that I'm going to put out there, because there is a lot of discussion in the law of attraction, in what you read on it, about how definite it is. And I've got some questions. We're going to get to it. So the art of allowing is in summary, is you going, okay, there's a really bad thing going on out there, but I'm just not going to get upset. I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm going to stay joyfully focused on my life. Right? It's just that simple. Them people over there, there's horrible things. I'm aware of it. I know about it, but I'm not going to let it affect me emotionally. I'm going to stay at a higher vibration, and maybe that high vibration will just attract more good feeling thoughts, and that will occur. And it does. For all intents and purposes, it does, if you are and have gotten skilled enough to position yourself via your choices over an entire lifetime of being aware of this information and constantly making good choices. There are some people in this world that have found a way to not have to be in observance of the things that are occurring around the world. But there's few and far between. Now, some of the ways that those individuals have positioned themselves to not have to experience what we are all experiencing, ergo the super ultra wealthy, or I shouldn't say wealthy, rich. Wealth is knowledge, so there is some wealth there, wealthy and rich people who've been able to buy their way out into places that are very isolated from the negative experiences that we're dealing with. The art of allowing is a very tough skill set. The art of allowing is hard to do because we all care, and sometimes we care too much. But more so, I think it boils down to we have inappropriate sensitivities to the negative experiences, and we hold on to them in a way that keeps them manifesting. That's a bit of a challenging statement, but it's the truth, because look at where we're at. So there's a difference between individual, in my opinion, and this is where we're going, and we're continuing to refine this. There, in my opinion, there is a difference between individual manifestation and mass manifestation. And we're reaching a point in this world where even those who have been very successful at navigating away from negative events and negative things in their lives are now having very negative things forced upon them. Now, I still believe it's karmatic, because we've all made these bad decisions in part or in whole, in contribution to the current state of experiences that we're all dealing with. That's pretty deep. So, if you are individually developing your skill set in the art of allowing, you, and this is to the title, Art of Allowing Equals Freedom, you are truly allowing freedom. You're allowing everyone to be responsible for the decisions and actions that they make. Oh, you did that and it hurts? I'm sorry, little Johnny, for, you got on a skateboard, you went down the sidewalk, you hit a rock and you hit your elbow and you tore it up. You learned something there. Is that kind of action something that you really want to do? And Johnny says, oh yeah, but I want to get really good at it, and I want to get so I can make these flips and flops and stuff. But that's part of his journey and his learning on either how to become more skilled with the skateboard or to choose not to be on the skateboard. It's part of his journey. And that's the problem we have, is based on social training that we had. One of the biggest reasons we have such a problem with allowing others to be in their place is because we've been programmed that it's our business, that we need to be involved in it deeper than we should. Not to saying that we shouldn't be connected and we shouldn't love each other and help each other and take care of each other the best that we can, but there is a point where, and this has been the crux of the catch-22 that I've been working on in my head, and I guess where we're going here in this discussion is just simply this. At what point in time do we allow those who are making bad decisions to actually feel the pain of those bad decisions versus when they affect us and our ability to not have to deal with those decisions? Because let me give you a very crude example of where I'm going with this. Okay, so suppose you're one of the highest, best practitioners of the law of attraction, and you really understand the art of allowing. You allow everybody to be free. You allow universe to bring in things, and you stay in a high vibration, and you've manifested your own oasis, right? Your own little place where you really don't have to view all the bullshit that's going on in the world, the negative, the deconstruction, self-destruction, the hate, the violence, the pedophilia, all that stuff. You don't have to see it. And you're in an extraordinarily high vibrational place. And then you have an extraordinarily large mass of negative energy come at you via the invasion of a tyrannical country that sends 50,000 troops over, and they just rampage your little oasis. Now maybe you can navigate away from that, and you're smart enough with your art of allowing. Go, you know what? I'm gonna allow them to come do that, and I'm just gonna hop on my private jet and I'm gonna fly away from here. Because I've had these discussions with individuals that think that everything in this world is perfect, and that I've read quite a bit via the law of attraction presentations or Jerry Nasser's presentation and Abraham's discussions on the art of allowing. The catch-22 on this, the hard cruxes of it, is where is the line drawn via allowing people to make their choices so that they can experience the results of those choices more show. Oh, it's my buddy, and he's like, oh, Jim Willie is on Jean-Claude, and I'm going, oh yeah, entertainment. I'll reserve my comments on that. Oh, let's stay focused, my friends. Catch-22 is this. At some point in time, this choice that has to be made, and I think that's what we're dealing with on totally on a global scale, on all of humanity. This is a choice all of humanity has to make. The majority of the issues that we're all dealing with is because for a long time, and especially here in America and in other countries, we allowed, okay, those psychopaths want to be the city council leaders. Those psychopaths, they're going to do what they say they're going to do. We're going to trust all of that. We allowed a lot of tyrannical people to overcome the peace that we were thinking that we were creating. We did. We all did. We all bought into the matrix. This is good. It's good for all of us having this system of control mechanisms over us. That was the way to do it. We want to control each other because we know there's bad people. So we're going to let these psychopaths have control over everything, and we allow that. I'm going to stay focused on my job, my career, my family, and I'm going to stay focused on my joy. And most of the baby booming generation and the Gen X, which should be at the, I think it's the beginning of the Gen X. So you had the baby boom, the Gen X, Y, Z, then the, oh, you know the string of it. So most of the baby boom generation and a good part of my generation benefited from the boom bubble that we've been going through. So because everything was so good and the corruption allowed a lot of people not to deal with their own bad consequences. We had medical treatments that would not maybe have been there that allowed people to live through stupid stuff. We had insurance policies that allowed people to one, have accidents and burn their house down and get paid for and come out of it unscathed with a new home because the insurance. We've had a lot of things that have put karma and her horse in a stall, and karma and her horse had not been able to ride. There are a lot of things that have bought off the consequences of our actions. So I am truly in belief that the skill set of the art of allowing is one that we all, if could perfect, would be what would allow us all to have the highest level of freedom. Because here's the thing, my friends, I have yet to see this in even some of the best people that we think are the most skilled, the highest accomplishments, the best minds, the best thinkers in all these channels, these other channels that we watch on YouTube and such. I have yet to see that fallacy not expressed in any of them. And the fallacy of not, saying that you're for freedom, but then you turn around and you take one class of people and you denigrate them across the board. You don't judge people individually on their own content of their character. You say that because they have done this, that their entire existence is meaningless. It has no value. It has no contribution to humanity, to our growth spiritually. That because if you did this one thing, even though you were doing it for yourself because of your own journey, you're not going to allow that person to exist in their manifestations, and you're going to come in with your own tyrannical mindset and discount their existence because of their classness. And these are some of the greater, freer thinking kind of people. I've been debating on whether I actually use several of my examples. Okay? Because in order to do so, I'm going to have to call out names and get into this as far as it, examples, because they would be direct, because we are all connected, and things we say either help or hurt people. Again, I'll go back to, this is why I tell you, listen to all, follow none, because I guarantee you, you're going to find fault in everyone, but there's also good in everyone, and it's a percentage ratio, some high, some low, because we're not all perfect. So in the law of attraction, the art of allowing is a skill set that you develop that allows other things to happen. As I stated in my series, the 3 things that cannot exist for humans to be free. In order for us to be free, we have to give that freedom. That's a true statement. I have to allow you to be free in your choices in order to be free. So for somebody to exclaim they want freedom and they're all not about the tyranny, but they turn around and they say they say, well, this class of person, because they do this one thing for themselves in their life, and they only want to be accepted for who they are. But you deny them their existence based on what they want because it's not real in your belief system. And your belief system says, no, that's wrong. When you do that, how are you any different from the tyrants that want to completely take your freedom away and shut you down in directly in your home? So I was, before I came out here to do this video, I was listening to a quick video of John Adams. Good name there, I like the name, historically speaking. John Adams, who was guy down there in Australia that came out a few months back discussing the issues with the First Mint and the inconsistencies in their reporting and their availability. He was calling out the corruption. Okay. Well, because of that, and because he's been speaking out against the tyranny, well, the tyranny, for all intents and purposes, cracked down on him and locked him up in his house. And that's what the conversation was over there on Dunnigan Kaiser's channel. And I'm like, well, this just fits right into my conundrum, my catch-22. Talk about distractions. We've got a sure if you can hear it or not. We got a local private airstrip, and it's not too far away from where I'm at. And when the guy leaves and comes in, for whatever reason, he's taking it quite. I've got quite the audience, and this guy will fly right over top of the homestead here, hanging out and just looking at everything he can, kind of sticking his nose into my privacy. I chose a hole in the woods here so that I would have my barriers against. That's why I want far away from a lot of other humans, is because most humans don't have the skill sets to make the choice of joy when there is a lot of negative things in their face. They are leaves in the wind. They're leaves in the wind. They will blow with whatever way the wind blows. So I was watching that video this morning of John Adams, talking about how they were locking him down, and all the verbiage that he could spit out of his mouth in this entire conversation was him mentally arguing with all these points that are to program you into accepting your slavery, your being in jail in your own home. So back to the art of allowing. I have observed that mostly I tend to live better, feel better, be happier if I allow others to have their freedom and live in their own choices, whether they're good or bad. Now, I love to help people, and you know me, and all of you I've talked to, you know me. I always say, here's what I know, here's what I can do I want to help. I want to tell you, okay, you and I talk about this, conversation goes into this, and then you have this issue and that issue, and I'm going, okay, well, this is what I know, maybe you can try this. This is what I know, maybe you can try that. And it's all done out of love. But in the end, I have to allow you to live with your own choices. And I try to exercise that as best I can. And in the discussion that I had with Nish, we discussed another local situation that I've got here, and some of you have discussed that kind of personally, that there are individuals that are not easy to deal with, and they're local, and many of you have suggested that I go on to an attack in order to find the ease in that situation, to relieve the stresses of the negative energies associated with that. And I tell you guys always that that I cannot do that. And one, for one, live with myself, but two, because it's in doing harm. No matter how much harm that I do, so long as it doesn't directly affect me in any serious negative way, I've got to allow them, those individuals, to live with their bad choices. Now, they may see them as bad choices, they may not. The bigger issue was in that situation that there is destruction that is being done to the environment. And I believe that at some point in time, we as a human race need to stand up and say we got to stop trashing our planet, because, you know, this is something that we all see. The trash is built up. And I say that metaphorically speaking, in the collapse of what's going on in this world, because the trash of our thinking has built up, and no matter where you look, you feel and see the garbage and the shit that we're dealing with. And, you know, the art of allowing has this catch-22 moment. We're at this catch-22 moment where it is at the potential, the overall bad choices that we've made are at the potential that it could substantially affect every human being on the face of the earth, no matter how good they are with the law of attraction, no matter how good we are individually, as a whole. If we don't, as a whole, learn how to make better choices from going, okay, we don't want this negative, we want the positive, and we've got to do what we need to do to get there. How do we do that? Can we do that? And what action should be taken in order to do that? Because what we're talking about is force. And force is a skill, power, implement that is applied from the tyrannical sense. The peaceful side of things generally does not want to use force. Nowhere do you typically, oh, peace, peace. No, 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 no. In the end, the question I ask is this. The catch-22. Does the art of allowing extend to the macro the same way it does to the micro? To my willingness to allow you to make your mistakes? Or do I bail you out? Or do I allow corruption to continue? Or do I take down that corruption? When do I have a responsibility to not allow something that is harmful? Or we as a whole do we allow this kind of mentality and corruption? Because we have done so to such a level that it is now affecting pretty much everybody on the planet, save maybe a small handful of people. And I mean a very, very, very small handful. And even those, there would be an argument that even the indigenous tribe on this undiscovered isle, that the rest of humanity's never seen, is still dealing with the trash that we are talking about. I'm talking about local trash. I'm also talking about global human trash. Trash of thinking, the trash we trash our minds up, and the physical trash, because if you're on an island in the middle of the sea, you're dealing with the garbage floating up in the ocean. You're dealing with the radiation from Fukushima out there in the Pacific waters. You're dealing with dead fish because of somebody else's bad choices. You're dealing with the stuff in the air. Our pollution, our pollution of bad thoughts and bad actions are going beyond what I think is comprehended. Now, mind you, if given an opportunity, I would love to sit down and see. And trust me, I've watched a lot of Esther Hicks in her discussions on these topics, but I've still yet to have that direct question. No matter what I do in my world and my choices, when you have a tidal wave of energy roll over you that was due to somebody else's manifestations, and I could have lived completely in a blind world to everything else that was going on and still be affected. When is it the responsibility of us all to not allow? When is it the responsibility of us on an individual basis to not allow? No, we will not take this anymore. It is not acceptable. And to do something so drastic as to ensure that it does not happen again. Now, I think that's a long process. I could go into it probably for about 2 or 3 hours on how I would see that manifesting in our social structures, our family structures, and everything. I tried to do some work on that 10 years ago in creating the global family of women, which was extraordinarily difficult and failed, because generally our population is not ready for that kind of movement yet, and it's not ready for to be responsible at that level. I still got to go home to my husband. I still got to watch TV and do what they tell me to do. I've still got to put my kids through the indoctrination systems that I'm supposed to put them through. Women had their reasons why they could not become responsible for being the mother and parent they needed to be. Because we all need to be better parents, better mothers, better fathers to our children, so that they know better how to make decisions, so that they're not doing these things that we're seeing come back on us, all the ramifications of all of our bad choices. On an individual basis, I believe that the art of allowing is going to be key for all of us to emotionally make it through the utter shitstorm that is going on. Because in the end, and I think Abraham would probably say this, in the end, this is, as I described many years ago in videos, that I described that humanity is drunk, and the only way the drunk ever really wakes up to their problem is by smacking the tree. They need that big event to occur. They need that event to occur to go, oh my God, look at what I did wrong. Look, I destroyed my car. Look at my family member laying bloody in the seat next to me because their face just went through the windshield. Humanity kind of needs that to understand what we can and cannot allow, and how do we stop it so that it is not that big an issue in the first place, where we can catch it as a small choice at the very early stages of this kind of thought mentality growing into something that it has become today. How do we stop this? I think, I had that interview with Chris Duane, and years ago, and you know, we were walking around the farm. I was walking around the farm, recording it on my cell phone when I was talking to him, and I was telling him all the things that we were doing, getting off grid with solar, all the changes that I was making in my world, so that I could be prepared for these not so good feelings of not having food, not having water, not having power, all those negative feelings I was changing so that I could make sure that I was staying in my happy place. All right? And in the end, I asked him, towards the end of the video, I asked him, I said, well, what are you going to do? He says, well, Aaron, you're so far, still so far ahead of me. And we would have to still say that, seeing how he's in Philadelphia with a new wife and child. But he did say something that was pretty powerful. He says, well, wherever I'm at, whatever I'm going to do, he says, I'm going to do one thing. He says, I'm going to make sure that these psychopathic kind of people don't ever get foothold. That they're not allowed to be in the social structure that I'm in. That's what he was going to look for. And I think that is simplistically addressing the issue of why we're experiencing such a level of negative stuff versus the positive things that we can go. A lot of the people that we listen to, because I know a lot of you and I share a lot of the same sources of, and I want to call attention to, Jean-Claude and the spiritual people there, the people that from all spiritual paths, those who read tarot cards versus those who read the Bible, they all are saying the same thing, that, well, we'll end up getting to the better place, that we'll win. However, the question is how and when, and do we understand why we get there when we do, and where do we cross that point of the art of allowing into the point of not allowing? That we actually say, no, this kind of experience cannot exist because it is not acceptable. That we value ourselves and the environment that we live in, and I don't mean environment as far as trees and plants, but that could be included. But the environment emotionally, the environment physically, the structure, social structure that we live in. Is it public indoctrination camps for our children, so that we don't even know who our own children are, and we lose that connection with them, so that every family's torn to pieces, that kind of thing. Our environment, our social environment, our creation environments. Do we have the ability to do that? How do we go about that? That was one big grasshopper just flew in here. Huge. Let's see if I can. That thing is huge. Oh, chicken food. Hold on. Oh. That didn't work too good. I tossed it over the fence and it flew up into a tree. Wow. Alright, folks, this is a long video, and I don't know how long are we into this thing. I can't see it. We are an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, I knew it was going to be a long one. The reason I ask this question is because, as many of you are aware, we're reaching that tipping point where humanity has to make its choice of what do we allow. Art of allowing. Are we going to allow those who made bad choices to get a pass? Are we going to allow ourselves to be okay with people actually being free? The art of allowing is freedom. But there also is a responsibility of all of us to not allow those things that are destructive to others. And let me refine that a little bit. I am happy to allow you, Mr. John Doe or Jane Doe or whatever, I am happy to allow you to do something stupid to hurt yourself. I'm not happy to allow you to do something stupid that hurts somebody else. Especially if that's lots of somebody else's, and lots of people are getting hurt because of bad thoughts, bad ideas, bad manifestations, and things like that. I'm not happy with that. That is the point where I believe we as a human existence need to do what we should have done but weren't ready to a couple hundred years ago when this country was formed. It was one country, and this is because John talked about that. John Adams talked about that in this video this morning. He says, well, you in America, you had your founding fathers, lay down, some ultimate rights of existence, and the Bill of Rights, and they don't have that in Australia. Maybe it's time for the whole world to declare that kind of thing. There's still another issue in that, and you can't do that and expect a government which is about usurping your rights for its own power to hold that in its, to hold that sacrosanct. You're not going to have the beast. You're not going to have an entity that is going to attract, by its very nature, going to attract the worst kinds of thoughts, behaviors, activities, events to do the best. And somewhere along the line, we as a humanity have to figure out how do we allow for our ultimate freedom, but not allow for that which would reduce our freedom. We've got a lot of stupid people in this world, a lot of stupid actions, a lot of very intelligent actions that are very destructive. You got a lot of things going on, and then a lot of people who don't care anymore, or even if they ever did. It is a hard discussion, because the self-help stuff that I truly believe is very powerful information for us on an individual basis. You got to care, but not that much. You got to care, but not that much. Well, sometimes we got to care that much, because it is the essence of our existence. Otherwise, we live within a tyrannical nature. We got to figure this out as a human race. How do we each individually go hereto but no farther? Hereto but no farther. That we will not allow certain things. And then how do we address it as a whole, as a human race? Because on an individual basis, the art of allowing is a immense skill set. If you can't develop the ability to allow somebody else to be free, then we will never be free. We will never be free until the cliff highs of this world cannot have a rant against transgender people. You cannot take an entire class of people and diminish them because you don't agree with the choice that they made in their lives that affect them. They have to be free enough to experience that. And there is no freedom so long as somebody says, well, I don't like the way you're living, and I'm not going to justify that. Now, if those same individuals were demanding that everybody and everybody else's family has to do it, then I'd be going, yeah, you know what, I'm on board with that. That's not allowing these people over here. But you got to understand what tyranny is, even on its smallest level, versus what is freedom on its smallest level. We all came here to learn, to change, to grow, to hopefully become our highest and best self. And that meant we need to be able to make choices that may not be good for us so that we can learn from those choices. And many of us have had the discussion about, true learning comes from when you really fuck up. It's just that simple. The more you fuck up, the more you learn. Ergo, why humanity has to hit that tree and learn that the actions were of drinking way too much, money, government, and religion, that those things have to end. We don't need any of those to exist. We don't. Oh, he's coming back. Alright, so the biggest question I've got, and I'll leave it at this, it is a bit of a conundrum, a catch-22. The art of allowing, and until you've explored it, well, as I have, and there's a few of you that have. If you like I said, leave comments, because it helps everyone with their cross understanding. See, that's the whole point. That is the whole point. If we can all freely share our experiences, and we have the ability to learn from those who've succeeded, go back to Kevin, learn from those who have succeeded at what you want. And what we want is a social structure, an interaction system, a connection system of family and community. We want something that works positively for everyone to the best of our ability. That's what we want. We want to go out and really love and enjoy life with as few incidences as possible. So we learn and want to learn from those that know the best ways to do things, instead of those who just want control. That's what we want. So leave your comments. What do you think about the art of allowing? could it still apply to the macro, and we all allow those of us who have a clue as to what's going on just back up and allow everybody to collapse upon themselves? And how do we allow this same kind of behavior to exist even after it does? Do we allow it to regrow? Does it come back somehow or another? The Bible talks about this is 1,000 years of peace after this, because we wipe out all the stupidity. I mean, I could say that too. Sometimes when you think about this, and it's not a pleasant thing to think about, should we lose 80-90% of humanity because 80-90% of humanity doesn't want to make good choices, and they need to deal with the results of their bad choices. If I've got the if I get the email and links from Niche by the time I upload this, I will leave a link. Maybe not, because she said it was all on her page. I'll leave a link to her Patreon, because I think you have to go through the Patreon platform to see that conversation I had with her. But we will, if I get the audio, I'll have to and then it'll be probably another day, week or two, or whenever the next time I get up to upload. But we can upload that. It's audio only. A lot more thoughts about where we're at, and she's doing this boots on the ground thing, and to make observations of what's going on in your observations of where we exist in our deconstruction of things, or tear down of the matrix that we've been in for such a long time, and it's going to be it's going to look different from different people's perspective on what we can allow and what we don't allow, and what we feel good about and what we don't feel good about. We all have these different experiences, and they're all a part of the mass collective consciousness, and sharing those experiences from a learning perspective of saw this, didn't work out too good, you may not want to step there, to I figured this one out, and if you do this and this and this, it's going to work out a whole lot better. That's what we're all about. We're all about that. And so she's doing that, so I'll leave some links for that for you, if I can. And all I can do is wish you all the best focus on your homestead, on what you can directly manifest, and be prepared to recognize and what we allow within our communities, that caustic nature of the bad thoughts that we see, and that I'm kind of discussing, went through. How do we not allow that to exist in our world on a direct level? And when I mean that is when this thing goes hot, when everything finally breaks down and goes hot, there will be those of us that will be in position where we can, how do I put this, end it in a very direct way, end certain local aspects of it in a very direct way. How do we go about that? Because I believe it's going to have to be done. We're going to have to take actions on the macro level, and from a very micro personal level, we're going to have to take actions to deal with the consequences of our bad judgments, our bad decisions as a whole. And that's why I tell you, one of the simplest things that you can do to improve things is go grow food. If you cannot feed yourself growing food, then you will be subject to harder choices. You know, food and water and that kind of thing. Those are the basics. That's why most preppers, you know, say go buy food. And I tell you, buying it still does not give you your freedom. You are codependent. You are dependent upon somebody else to produce what you need the most. Till we figure that out, we will not be rid of this situation that we're in. Alright, that's got to be long enough. I think I got my stuff across. My ideas. Hour and a half, 90 minutes. Unplug this thing. We got a quick little downpour last night. Less than a 1/4 inch. Wasn't very much. We need more rain. Y'all send me some rain. We could use it. There she is, way down there. Way bigger than that. There you go. She says bye, I say bye.